Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the emotionally imbalanced and disturbed comic book vault. I'm Captain Logan. Today we're going to take a look at the final volume of Deadpool Classic. This is Deadpool Classic Volume 5, and let me tell you, this is quite a doozy. I absolutely was not sure about this as I got started with it. I wondered where Joe Kelly could possibly take things after Deadpool saved or condemned the world, depending on how you look at it. In the last volume, Deadpool finally fulfilled his destiny. He stopped the big monster from wreaking havoc on the world and causing horrible pain for everyone. Or did he? The big question is, did he make the right decision? If you didn't watch the last video, basically the whole idea was that LL&L, this company that had this guy named Monty as a precog, believed that Deadpool was supposed to stop the world from being destroyed by this big monster. And what we discover is that actually what Deadpool was either supposed to do, or at least what he ended up doing, was he in fact stopped the alien Messiah from saving the world, which was to say that he stopped it from causing peace among all mankind by taking away everybody's freedom and individuality and forcing everyone to become basically one big non-entity. But there would be no destruction and no hunger or anything like that. And now, because he made that choice at the last minute, he's gone kind of insane. And when I say kind of insane, I guess I really mean really, really insane. He's basically kind of kidnapped Monty and put Monty in a similar position to where Al used to be. He's not technically his prisoner, but Monty doesn't really want to be there, and he basically makes him just stick around for company and do whatever Deadpool tells him to do, and he's absolutely miserable. Deadpool's supporting cast changes a bit in this book. Al has totally left him, and we finally, about midway through, get a flashback when we find out that she's basically left because he's not listening to reason, and he's going crazy because of everything that happened to him last volume, and he basically wants to be totally alone. And of course he doesn't really, because he's got Monty around, but he's lost it. He doesn't really know what he wants, and it's driving him mad. So one of the big crazy things that he starts doing at the beginning of this is he's ripping off, it's really disturbing, he's ripping off doll heads, and he's creating, we find this big artistic structure of this woman's face, who we later find is the face of Mercedes, who is, wait for it, Deadpool's ex-wife. What? Deadpool had an ex-wife? When did this happen? And that's what everybody's asking, because nobody, even Monty and even everybody at LL&L, we finally get back to Culloden again, Zoe Culloden, nobody knew that Deadpool had an ex-wife, and we've got this precog who knew everything there was to know about Deadpool. And Deadpool swears up and down, no, this woman was real, back before the Weapon X program, back before his cancer, back before everything. He was this regular guy with this fiance, and I actually forget if they were actually married or if she was just his fiance. I think they were married. And anyway, the big mystery is, well, it's twofold. A, how is it that nobody knew that Deadpool had a wife? Why has she never come up before? And, I mean, granted, Deadpool is very secretive about his past, but still, how is it that nobody knows? And B, how does she suddenly pop up again when she was killed by this mercenary? And the idea, at first, I found myself thinking, was that he had started becoming a mercenary as kind of this weird backwards way of trying to fix his psyche after his wife was murdered. Come to find out, of course, as always, spoiler warning, I'm going to tell you what happens in this in case you haven't had a chance to read it. We come to find out that, in fact, it wasn't actually his ex-wife. He just remembers it that way. And in fact, his name is not actually Wade Wilson even. And this is where all of the backstory with T-Ray finally comes in, because T-Ray has been built up from previous volumes, coming on and off again, as kind of like Deadpool's Sabretooth. You know, Wolverine and Sabretooth had this long, dark, convoluted history, and for a long time we didn't exactly know how all of it worked out until we got to Origin and some other books. And it's very much the same way with T-Ray. He kept popping in. He and Deadpool were always at each other's throats, and they were always in competition at the Dead House for really good merc jobs. And I never understood why they were constantly fighting each other and why T-Ray wanted such revenge on Deadpool. And we come to find out that Deadpool actually stole his whole life. What Deadpool would do, and I don't know if we ever even get his real name, but I forget, but what he would do is he would go into a place, he would do a job, and then he would steal somebody else's identity and actually totally change their face if he had to as a last resort to cover his tracks. And that's exactly what he does here. Where things really break down and where it changes his whole life, this really is the catalyst that takes Wade, who of course isn't called Wade at this point, whatever his name is, takes Deadpool to the eventual kind of crazy place that he goes to now, is that this woman gets caught in the middle of it, and she's an innocent person, and he never meant for that to happen. He always justified his actions before, because he was only a mercenary killing people that he thought deserved it, the bad guys. And then this woman, Mercedes, got in the middle of everything. He destroyed her whole life. He took T-Ray away, you know, Wade Wilson, and it took everything away from him. So T-Ray has had this big, giant, convoluted plot, and really the only thing I don't like about this is just that it's so convoluted, it's of course hard to buy, but it's Deadpool, and there's it's big and broad and over the top and kind of far fetched anyway. So within the context of this book, I'm going with it. Nothing is more convoluted than LL and L, and the precog and how they put all that prophecy stuff together. So I'm gonna give this one a pass after all of that. T-Ray has been building this plan for a really long time, apparently, to bring this this woman Mercedes back to life, and to make Deadpool think that he's going to live happily ever after, and then take it all away from him and reveal to Deadpool that he's the real Wade Wilson, and all of this all at once. We knew from one of the previous volumes that T-Ray had been dealing with dark magic and sorcery and stuff, and so there's some precedence for this crazy dark magic that he's able to use, where he's able to not only bring this woman back to life, but also bring back to life every body that Deadpool has ever killed. Now, I didn't really get the sense that that was all the same as Mercedes. I kind of gathered that they were more like a kind of undead, kind of, and basically Deadpool gets to this place toward the end where he almost falls for T-Ray's trap, and he almost breaks down and he almost totally loses it. And finally he decides, this is really his big giant turning point as a character, and he's had a lot of turning points where he's made a big horrible choice, as I've said before, and he's had to learn something from it, and he's taken baby steps toward becoming more of a superhero. Well, here he's back to a full-fledged mercenary because being a superhero didn't work out for him so well, he feels like, because he kind of stole world peace away from the world. It's a little bit like the end of Angel Season 4, actually. Granted, that came later, and I doubt that they borrowed anything from this for that season, but I just thought of that. It's kind of like the end of Angel Season 4, and he so he's kind of he feels like he's gone back full circle for a minute. And then at the end, he finds a way to be comfortable with himself. He says, yeah, I've done some terrible things. I've done a lot of really terrible things, but everybody I've killed, with the exception of Mercedes, who he didn't mean to get caught in the crossfire. She was the one thing that he really regretted. Everybody else deserved to die from his perspective. Granted, his morality is not my morality, but I really like the place that he gets to, where he says, yes, I've messed up. I've done all these horrible things, but you know what? All these dozens and hundreds of people spread out now that T-Ray's brought back to life that I killed, I'd do it again. They all deserved it. I'm a mercenary. That's what I do. And I would do it again. And I really like the place that Joe Kelly leaves Deadpool at the end of this book. I gotta say that at first, I really thought this was going to be my least favorite volume because I could not figure out where in the world he was going to take this. And as it went along, I've decided I think maybe it's my favorite volume. I really liked some things about 4, but what I enjoyed the most about this is that it was such a cohesive narrative from beginning to end. And I know it's collected in one trade, and so, you know, if I were reviewing this in single issues, it'd be a little bit different, but they put this together in such a way where this really does feel like one story, and it's and there's not any like weird interludes, you know, it all really fits together, and I was really impressed with where it wound up by the end. I didn't care for the first story, however. There's this Deadpool team-up issue at the beginning of this, which is where the cover comes from. And I was kind of surprised by this cover, because you've got this, you got Little Wade, who is a clone of Deadpool. And I'm not really going to talk about this issue, because it felt superfluous to me, and I didn't really like it. It's about... It's by James Felder, and I don't feel like James Felder has nearly as good of a voice for Deadpool as Joe Kelly does. And as I've said before, Deadpool is not my favorite character. He has so many jokes that really weigh down a page and messes with the pacing. But on the other hand, Joe Kelly is really consistent. He's got a great voice for Deadpool, and I think that you have to kind of write Deadpool for a while before you really get the hang of him. At least other writers. Whereas Joe Kelly, I felt like kind of had him right from the get-go. And so, you know, reading James Felder's story right in the middle of all this was kind of intrusive and really. You know, I almost wished I had skipped it. And also, unfortunately, this idea of this kind of Deadpool mini-me character, this clone that is this really no-nonsense version of Deadpool, but this kind of little kid version, or at least this, you know, tiny person version, I thought it could have been a really fun idea, but nothing's really done with it. Wade acts like this is kind of par for the course. He's not even surprised by it. He's just like, oh, all right, it's a clone of me. Moving on. That happens all the time. Maybe that was supposed to be funny, but I just felt like it was somewhat of a missed opportunity. I would have liked to have seen some banter between the two Wades and some kind of fun stuff done with that. And I sort of figured he'd be around for a while, and he wasn't. Maybe that was for the best, ultimately. At the end of the book, there is this really fun kind of like little kid looking thing called Baby's First Deadpool Book. And of course it's not really supposed to be for little kids, but it's pretending like it's a Deadpool storybook. And Joe Kelly wrote some stuff for this. And there's one thing that really made me laugh in this. There's this kind of little storybook thing which was fun, but the thing that I really liked, let me see if I can find it, was kind of this like ABCs of Deadpool. And it's this kind of like rhyming poem with ABCs. So it starts out and it's like, A is for Owl, by Wade locked away. B is for Batrock, whom Poole tried to spray. I should have mentioned, by the way, Batrock the Leaper. I don't think I talked about him. He was in either volume 4, I think volume 4, or maybe 3. I just thought it was hilarious they brought back Batrock the Leaper of all people. C is for CF, his face never the same. D is for Death Trap, who turned out, well, lame. Anyway, this was really funny to me. I quite enjoyed that little extra stuff there at the end. Anyway, kind of some fun cameos here. Wolverine pops in for a while, where Deadpool is trying to force one of a character arc like all of his previous character arcs, where he has to get in a big fight with someone that he shouldn't have gotten in, and then he learns something, and he tries that with Wolverine, and of course it doesn't really work. And we see Bullseye come back. Joe Kelly followed that up, where you know Bullseye said, if I ever see you again and you're not doing your job, I'm gonna I'm gonna come down on you hard. And we see him come back and kind of try to do that. And anyway, I really enjoyed how the Deadpool Classic volumes ended. I think this really is the last of them. And, I haven't read any more Deadpool after this, besides a couple of, issues here and there, more recent stuff, which is very, very, very different from this. And I gotta say, overall, again, this is not exactly my bag, but I was very impressed by how much actual storytelling was done here. How it wasn't just about breaking the fourth wall, being really jokey. Deadpool has these character arcs that are very different from other characters, and then you really sets them apart. and he has things to learn. There are some real human lessons for him, and there's some real questions about, and I think pretty well handled questions, whether we really get the answers to them or not. Where at least the questions are raised about destiny and about free will and those sorts of big questions that superhero comics are the best for asking. So overall, I'm very impressed with Joe Kelly, and I really appreciate the chance to have gotten to read these. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Really hope you enjoyed this series on Deadpool. I'll be back with you very soon with another comic book vault. And if you'd ever like to send anything to the comic book vault, either to loan me or to donate to the vault, you can always send that to our P.O. Box. That's Geekvolution, P.O. Box 14183, Lenexa, Kansas 66285. I'm Captain Logan, and happy reading.